comments on tomorrow. Just remind Conrad, you'll appreciate this. Long time ago, when I was down in the Panhandle of Texas, I attended a preacher's monthly preachers gathering in Liberal, Kansas, and Dalton Key was the preacher there. And we tried to sing "When All of God's Singers Get Home." And Dalton got up at the end of that and said, "It sounds like all of God's singers already went home." Some things are just like that, aren't they? All right, Numbers chapter 6. Sometimes you use a word and you don't even think about how whether you've got a good definition of it or not. I don't think I have really even a good definition of suffering. If you ask me to make a distinction between pain and suffering, I'm not sure I can give that to you, right? And it occurs to me, I think sometimes the way the word blessed is used today, that we don't always have good definitions of it. Because calling something blessed has become kind of the go-to term for those who want to boast about an accomplishment while pretending to be humble. I was blessed, yeah. I was blessed while you're trying to fish for a compliment, or maybe to acknowledge a success without sounding over-the-top conceited, or, purposely trying to elicit envy on people. Lots of ways we use the term blessed. Somebody sneezes and somebody else says, "God bless you." Blessed is something people now, speakers will use to get an appointment to do a TED Talk. I was blessed to be able to get this TED Talk, right, invite, as well as maybe in August, Billy's mother will be blessed to hit 100 years old, or somebody's grandma, 91. They're blessed because they're getting to their 91st birthday. Yeah. For many people, the term has simply become simply a way of letting the world know our good fortune while alluding to some off kind of maybe divine force at work. And is that really, for the people of God, is that really what the Bible means by being blessed? And so I had to kind of work through that, because I decided that came second after I decided on the text, which our text today is Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. I'm sure it's in the top 50 best known verses in your Hebrew Bible. Probably one of the top 2 or 3 best known verses in the book of Numbers, at least, right? Lots of well-known text here, right? This this text comprises some of the best known texts in our Bible. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, Thus you shall bless the people of Israel. You shall say to them, The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. So they shall put my name upon the people of Israel, and I will bless them." Notice this blessing. It addresses the people of God. You say it directly addresses God's people, assembled people, right? Say to the people of God, say to Israel. And it indirectly addresses God, because God's being asked to do an action here in this, right? Some actions, okay? And it assumes that God is the source of blessing for his people, okay? So as we get into this, I'm going to start with just asking, what's a blessing, right? Again, we use it in a lot of different ways. If we view life as kind of all there is, a blessing is whatever makes us happy. I think that's fair, right? If this life is all there is, a blessing is whatever makes it happy, okay? And so if you ask, are you blessed? And you kind of think it's whatever makes me happy, we're going to start listing things like my health, my material provisions, my loving relationships, doing good, those kind of things. And listen, I like material possessions. Am I alone in that? Or do other people kind of like some of that stuff too, right? Yeah. I don't think that stuff's wrong in and of itself, right? Okay. But that's not what the foundation of life is it? It's not what the foundation of life is. So what does biblically, what does it mean to be blessed? There's one Hebrew term, just one Hebrew term, which is kind of amazing for being blessed, right? And, and it generally involves the pronouncement or the bestowal of good on something. I think from the Bible's perspective, blessing is founded in relationship with God and finds its ultimate meaning in that relationship. And so really to have the people of God say they're blessed, I think it comes into us how we're related to God and how that relationship's going. Right? A really quick definition of blessed maybe is it's having divine favor. Blessing is God bestowing favor upon his people. Okay? One of my favorite Old Testament scholars, John Oswalt, he wrote a little more complicated definition of blessing that I can remember divine favor. I can't remember this one, okay? To bless in the Old Testament means to endue with power for success, prosperity, longevity, etc. Yeah, that's pretty good, right? It's the King of the universe looking to you as a loving Father and knows your needs and then gives you, takes care of you, right? Takes care of you. Okay, I think so. That's kind of the thought process I'm working from in this lesson today of what's this blessing in Numbers 6 about? What's the Bible talk about blessing about? Not just kind of the generic way we use blessing in our times today. But as I say all that, please know this. I think when you read the Bible from cover to cover, there it is. Went too fast. It seems very apparent to me that God desires to bless his people. And if we get nothing else out of this lesson, that's good news. From cover to cover, it's pretty apparent that God desires to bless his people. The very first words that God said to humanity, let's see if my slides will move forward. If not, we'll just wing it. There we go. That was okay. Be fruitful and multiply. But notice how it starts in Genesis. This is first things he says. God blessed them. So the very first words God says to humanity is about blessing. You ever notice that? God desires to bless us. Okay? Genesis 9:1, he kind of repeats that. Boy, I'm not moving forward. There we go. Repeats that blessing. We're probably familiar with Genesis chapter 12. There we go. Notice God. Okay, Genesis 12, 1 through 3. I may give up. I just may give up. Blessing is central to the covenant with Abraham, right? Those who bless you, I will be blessed. All the nations of the earth shall be blessed in you. You guys know that text. You don't need to see it, right? You got that? That's central. That's essential to Genesis 12. When you get to Deuteronomy chapter 28, right, in verses really 1 through 14, I just gave you one text up there. But Israelites, as heirs to the Abrahamic covenant, have blessings as central to their life with God. And so when we get to this text in Numbers chapter 6, maybe we'll get there, maybe we won't. There we go, right? It's a reminder in many ways, right? Because Genesis comes before Numbers. Everybody with me on that, right? Right? Genesis before Numbers. In some ways, this blessing of Aaron for the people, or the priest for the people, is a reminder of God's desire to bless his people. And so blessing includes all those things that make life possible to the full life as really God intended it back in Genesis 1. Life as God intended it at creation. Okay? And so we start in the whole section here with a priest's responsibility is to bless God's people right here. And that didn't go to the right place. Let's see if, maybe I did the wrong slide. Who knows? We'll try there. We'll get there. Okay. In Numbers chapter 6, the Lord spoke to Moses saying, notice just that little part of it. This is a command that God gives to his priests, right? To the spiritual leaders, that his leaders are supposed to bless his people. And when the priests bless, they are to use the formula that follows. It's not just God saying, hey, why don't you bless my people? He could have said that, right? And they could have come up with any old thing they wanted to say. But he's going to specify how he wants his people blessed. You know, it's not going to be a blessing of the priest devising. It's the one that God specifies. And so in Numbers 6:23, speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, thus you shall bless the people of Israel, you shall say to them. And so this isn't a magical incantation, right? This is what God specified for Israel to do, so God will bless his people, right? That's what he wants, okay? And so we start then, when you get to verse 24 through 26, you really have the blessing there in number 6. If you've noticed, I've quit trying to move the screen forward. I'm just done, okay? And in many ways, this whole section composes the perfect blessing. And there's a lot of ways that it's indicated to us that it is. Because the 3 is kind of a perfect number, especially in Hebrews thought. There are 3 sections to this. There's the prose introduction that I just read in verse 22 and 23. There's the poetic blessing in verses 24 through 26. And there's a prose conclusion in chapter 6 and verse 27. 3 sections. The word bless occurs 3 times in this section. Okay? Once in the introduction, once in the blessing, and once in the conclusion. The divine name occurs 3 times in the blessing, right? And as you move even into the poetic section of it, the first part of each line invokes this movement of God, right? The Lord bless you and keep you, right? It invokes God's movement toward his people. And the second part of the verse says about what happens when God is active and moves toward his people in this, right? What's the result of that God's activity, right? And so really we kind of have this river, and envisioning this river of blessing flowing from God as it widens toward his people as we work through this. The first blessing, 6:24. The Lord bless you and keep you. Right? That's the priest requesting God, right, to act for and in behalf of the Israelites. So God act. The Lord bless you. And what's his action supposed to do? It's keep you. Keep you. This is a word that occurs in your Hebrew Bible. It would describe a shepherd as he protects his flock. Right? Think Psalm 23 here. Right? This is a word of protection, right? It's this watching over presence to protect, as a shepherd does for the sheep. This is a calling for God to act to protect his people, to watch over his people, and for him to act in that such a way that we are a protected people. That means we're a blessed people. And if we believe that, I think it changes some of our perspective on even things like suffering. And I think it also can help us have some courage as we face each day and its perils, trusting in God's protection. I'd like to believe in God's protection this morning. How about you? How about you? That's the first line. The second line, verse 25, the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Okay? The Lord make his face, that's God's action, his face to shine upon you. Now, I don't think we use that kind of expression, at least not in my household. I don't know, maybe Billy's household and I don't know, maybe in your household you use that. Oh, make your face to shine upon me, and that's just standard language at your house, but I'm kind of doubting it. I don't think that's kind of one of our idioms that we tend to use today, right? It's an idiom of favor, to look at someone with favor. Make your face shine is to say, look at your people with favor, God, right? Maybe we get closest to it if somebody came in the room and you see somebody else, they see them, and we talk about what? Their face lights up, right? They're really excited that person's there, and they're going to have favor toward that person because they're excited they're there. And so, this is about being, God, be favorably disposed toward your people, right? It'd be the opposite of hiding your face, right? And I think we get that one a little more, right? Because we've read Psalms about God, hide your face, right? Don't be angry at me, but hide your face from me. This is the opposite. So maybe we can get the positive meaning out of looking at the opposite, right? To have his face shine upon you is to look favorably toward you, as in hiding your face is don't look angrily at me, right? Okay? And so God, look favorably toward me, and the result of you looking favorably toward your people is to be gracious, right? To be gracious, right? This is about God's grace and mercy, right? That God will temper his justice with his mercy, right? That God will not judge us according to our sin as it deserves. Thankfully, like if you're in Numbers, right? In Aaron's day, you're thankful that there are sacrifices to atone for your sin, right? In our day, we're thankful for the atonement of Jesus, aren't we? Right? And grace is an attitude that issues in kindly action toward somebody else, okay? And so, what's this blessing about? The first one was what? Protection. God, watch over your people. The second blessing, part of the blessing, is God moved to have grace upon your people. And the third line, verse 26, the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. That's very close to saying the same thing as what we just said of make his face to shine upon you. Lift up your countenance, right? It means much the same thing. It's an indication of God, pay attention. God's attentive to, right? Lift it. Don't be drowsy there, God, right? Act with attention toward your people, looking upon your people favorably, okay? It's again kind of the opposite of wow, looking away and you don't even care. but be attentive to your people. And the result of your attention is give us peace. Right? And peace in the negative sense is the freedom from all disasters. In its broadest scope, it encompasses the positive blessings of prosperity, good health, friendship, and general well-being. We know the Hebrew word there, right? Shalom. We're familiar with that term, right? That's a great blessing, isn't it? God act to protect your people. God act to give grace to your people. God act to give peace to your people. Who doesn't need that? The result, verse 27, so they shall put my name upon the people of Israel. What's happened there is 3 times God's name has been said in the blessing, right, throughout this. And so that's how the priests are putting God's name on the people. They're saying God's name over the people and wanting them to act accordingly, right? That's how his name is there, right? And by pronouncing the name 3 times, they'll be putting the name of God on the Israelites. And that name is what? It's there to indicate ownership. This is my people. God's name's on his people, and if his name's on us, we need to act accordingly. Is that not correct? If his name is us, we shouldn't be living like the devil. If his name is on us, we should be living like God, right? And so I will bless them, verse 27. So from start to finish, the Lord in this text clearly desires to bless his children, okay? And I think it indicates, because it's God took the initiative here, didn't he? Moses, say to Aaron and to the priests, right? This is God's initiative. Say these words. This is God's intention. He's ready to bless. He's not a miser with his blessings. God's desires to bless, his favor to be toward his obedient people. And so I think this blessing is a reminder of Israel to look to God. Or let me backtrack that to make the application for us. It's a reminder for the church to look to God for protection, to look to God for grace, and to look to God for peace. I'm definitely not looking for that third thing in government. There is my political statement for the day. And these blessings depend upon the obedience of God's people to his commandments. For us to receive God's blessings, we must live in the light of God's name being upon us and obey him. But it's very clear to me that God wants to protect us. He wants to bestow grace upon us. And he desires for his people to have peace. One last text, and the lesson's yours. As I think about this blessing, I think about, and the application of it, I think about the Apostle Paul writing over in Philippians. When he's in prison, right? That's clearly from the context of Philippians chapter 1. And in chapter 4, verse 12 and 13, Paul wrote, I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. Paul's not focusing on the visible blessings that seem to be missing, right? He doesn't have his freedom. I doubt if jail food was very good in the first century. Just saying, right? No, what? He focused on the bedrock blessing that put all of life into perspective, that he belongs to Christ, who gave him the strength to live with the contentment that belongs to those who know that they have the greatest blessing that they could ever need, that they are secure in a God who wants to bless them. That's blessing indeed. And I don't claim to be anything else but one of the priesthood of believers this morning, but as a person that's a part of the priesthood of believers, that makes me a priest along with you if you're part of the people of God. So I'm going to end a lesson on blessing with, may God bless you with protection. And may God bless you with his grace. And may God bless you with peace. And if you need to respond to this lesson in any way, whether it's to become a child of God, to have his blessings, let's do it this morning. If you need to be baptized in that watery grave of baptism, listen, that can happen. That can happen, right? We can take care of that. If you need to get right with the Lord and right with the brothers and sisters in the Lord, that can happen this morning too. If you just need the prayers for strength, that can happen also. So if you need to respond in any public way, once you do so, as together we stand and as we sing.